stunning looks than swift.
Well, an uninterrupted 50 overs, so let's be grateful for that. First up in this Super 4 clash between Sri Lanka and Bangladesh, where Sri Lanka finished 257 for 9, an innings that was held together by a career best from Sadira Samaravikrama, 93 of 72, deserved 100, fell short just at the end and lost his wicket of the final ball. Still, plenty to look back upon at halftime on Maruti Suzuki Arena presents ESPN Cricket for Matchday, powered by JBL. We'll hear from Farveez Maharoof very shortly. First up, Amol Muzumdar in studio with me. Let's start with the score itself, 257. Who's the happier team at halftime? Amol?
I think Sri Lanka. It's only because the pitch is not that conducive for batting, and it's not that easy. You can bat on it in a particular fashion. It's not that easy. You need to play square of the wicket. If you notice in the innings that it's a grafter's wicket. It's not a wicket where you put your foot down as a batter and just go through the line. So you'll have to really dig in deep and play square of the wicket more. All
right, then let's get Farveez's thoughts first up on whether Amol's comments make us even further appreciate that knock from Sadira Samaravikrama. Farveez, 93 of 72, a career best for him. Is that the best you've seen him bat?
100%. In international cricket, that's the best I've seen so far. In domestic cricket, I've seen him making those big hundreds. But today, he took the responsibility up, especially when the two settled batsmen got out, Pathum and Kusal. And that's cardinal error, and that's criminal in ODI cricket, especially because you need one of the top batters who's settled to dig, bat deep into the innings. But Sadira Samaravikrama came in, 2 wickets fell, and he knew the responsibility was on him to try to bat through. So the way he batted, the way he paced his innings, he knew his strengths. He wasn't trying to hit too hard. He relied on timing and placement. And boy, what a knock so far. Probably a 257 can be a match-winning knock.
What stood out of that Samaravikrama innings for you, Amol?
I think his placements of the ball, he knew exactly what he was doing, and the control of his shots was something really special for me. I think the way he handled the fast bowlers initially, and then the way he handled the spinners, especially Shakib ul Hasan, who was a threat on this pitch. He preferred to play him on the back foot and square of the wicket. I think he catered to the conditions perfectly, and that's the reason he ended up getting 93. He deserved 100. Unfortunately, he didn't get it in the last couple of balls, but he really played well to get Sri Lanka to the score what they have, 257.
Yeah, Farveez Maharoof makes the point of the batters that got starts before that. There's a half century to Kusal Mendes, there's a 40 to Nissanka. Now, explain the first 20-25 overs or so, Farveez, where a lot of things were said even from the on-air commentators about the surface. Your assessment of the surface and whether it at all played onto the batters' minds in the first part of the innings?
I mean, to be honest, I didn't agree fully what the commentators on ground said. I mean, most of the commenters are saying that it's a pitch where you need to get to the next gear. But me and Amol both, agree here that the pitch wasn't conducive for stroke playing, and it's a grafter's wicket. Even I believe in that because it wasn't easy. You had some bounce for the 3 fast bowlers whenever the length was quite full, and the ball for the spinners didn't turn everything, and some went straight, some turn, and it's a nightmare for the batsmen especially. So, Sri Lanka's game plan is to not score 330, 350 every day. Sri Lanka's batting order, if you look at it, it's top 7. Most of them are grafters. Most of them like to build innings. Sri Lanka is not blessed with players such as like England, for example. Whenever there's a couple of dot balls, they go for a big shot, and most of the time with their strength, they can clear the 6. Sri Lanka don't have that ability in the middle. So you need to be smart enough how to go about things. And certainly, I did not agree some of the commentators said about Sri Lanka has to go through, because Sri Lanka's game plan is far different for some of the other teams in the world.
Yeah, too many batters on that commentators list over there at the Premadasa. So that's just how they feel. But you would agree with Farveez that perhaps Sri Lanka have actually understood how to get a score on this surface?
Yeah, if you notice the first 10 overs, and I'm sure Farveez can put some light on that, the surface had something for the fast bowlers. The ball was darting around, and if you notice Mahmood, if he was bowling on the seam, it was going sideways. So even later on in the innings, the ball tend to move a little sideways. Yeah. So I think if you hit the seam on this kind of a pitch, it will dart around. Under lights, I don't know how it's going to play. We'll have to wait and watch. But I personally feel that it's not an easy pitch to bat on.
Yeah, that second part that you just said, let me put that to Farveez too. Now, is that Samaravikrama batting for a while and therefore really getting into the groove and playing some shots, or the effect of the lights, and where we can almost expect that it'll be very easy or much better to bat on going second innings, Farveez?
I think more time you spend in the middle, you feel a bit ease. I mean, Sadir Samaravikrama, when he started, there was nowhere near he had a smooth innings. It was all about grafting it, hard work. And mind you, Sri Lanka, especially Colombo, last couple of weeks, the amount of rain that the covers have taken is a pounding. And the groundsmen have done a wonderful job to produce a pitch like that. And as Amol said, the three quicks, mind you, all are tall. All are almost 6 feet and hit the deck hard. So you're obviously going to get that bounce, and it's going to be a test for even for the Bangladesh openers when Kasun Raditha with seam, with bounce when he hits that right line. So I reckon Sri Lanka will be happy with the efforts, especially the pitch. You know, they know the conditions well, as Amol said before, because LPL games were played there, and this young team knows how to adjust to this pitch. So I reckon this score is a good score, but it all depends on how you start the first 10 overs.
Yeah, I mean, as it turns out, you had 7 wickets fall, 2 pace. So let's go to the Bangladesh Pacers. Farveez, you can go first with Hassan Mahmood. I think he was standout of the Pacers, bowled well.
Oh, brilliant action, nice smooth running, brilliant follow through. I just love watching him bowl, especially the pitch which had some bounce. That boy will be a handful.
Amol, what stood out for you?
All three of them. I think all three are different kind of bowlers. If you see Tuscan Ahmed, he runs through, bowls, tries to bowl a little quicker. Mahmood is on the spot, hits the deck a little harder, and also a good mover of the cricket ball. And then you have Shariful Islam. He can change the angle, bowls round the stumps as well. Really effective when he comes left arm round. So all three of them have bowled well. They've got a very potent bowling attack.
Yeah, you made a point before we went on air of how Hassan Mahmood's use of the seam seemed to impress you, because some of those wickets were very good balls. He had batters nicking off even in the middle.
Yeah, absolutely. The first wicket that he got, it was just the right kind of length on this kind of a pitch, and hitting the seam hard and taking the ball away from the left-hander. So I think it was, I guess he got Karuna Ratne out in that fashion. Yeah. So I guess that's something what Sri Lanka can take some leaf out of his book and just keep hitting the deck hard. I know they know the conditions really well, but still they'll have to come out and bowl pretty well in the first 15-20 overs.
Yeah, you see him as a fair threat even perhaps for the World Cup going forward. There's some chat about whether Ibadat Hossain will walk back into this team. Farveez, but Hassan Mahmood has the skill set to be a very handy ODI bowler, white ball bowler.
I mean, definitely, I've covered some cricket in Bangladesh, and young Mahmood has been highly regarded by the setup of the coaching staff there. He had a chat with Champak Raunak, he's one of the fast bowling coaches for Bangladesh setup, and he rates Hassan Mahmood very highly. And they had the luxury of Ibadat Hossain as well. And when you have a Mustafizur Rahman can't find a place in that team, means that the 4 youngsters are doing well. So that's how well the pace battery of Bangladesh have come forward.
9 overs though. Do I tend to think sometimes when a bowler is bowling so well, surely he must bowl his quota? Is that okay?
Yeah. See, when you have 6 bowlers in your arsenal, then one is going to get underbowled. That's for sure. So he had 3 spinners and 3 fast bowlers to his disposal, and 1 over shot by Hassan Mahmood. I think he was clearly the pick of the bowlers for me, but unfortunately he couldn't complete his overs.
Yeah, I mean, there were 23 overs of spin that were used by Shakib, while he himself and Nasrum Ahmed were economical, just 75 runs in 20 overs between them. Farveez, both Shariful and Hassan Mahmood didn't bowl out in spite of being among the wickets. They went at 6s. Anything Shakib could have done different as captain?
He could have been much more attacking in the middle over, especially when Bangladesh took out the 2 wickets of Patum and Kusal. I thought he missed a trick by not a little attacking. Sri Lanka, historically, when they lose wicket in the middle overs, they tend to go to a shell. That's where the good opposition teams make counts of inexperienced middle order. So I reckon Shakib missed a trick there, but as Amol said, I was surprised as well that Ibadat as well as Mahmood is under ball. I mean, 1 over each at least. It could have been much different.
If there's one point that I would like to make, I was a touch disappointed with Kushal Mendes, when he played that shot. It was in the 25th over, he was batting so well, 26th over, beg your pardon. He was batting so well. And if he could have continued in that same manner, probably we would have seen a different score for Sri Lanka. I was a little disappointed because he was well set for a big score and he has not been in form. So when you're getting back in form, he had a good innings in the previous match, and today if he would have continued and got a big score, then things would have looked different for Sri Lanka.
Yes, Farveez.
I think also, I mean, I completely agree with Kusal because he's a man on form. He scored a 90 on the last game, batted really well. You expect the senior player to try and bat through the innings. That's one point, as well as Dasun Chanaka's scoop. I thought he's far better off going over long on and mid wicket because he got the power. He can clear any boundary in the world. I mean, just going for that huge risky shot. If you take a look at the replay there, even before the bowler was delivered, and even before he took the jump, Dasun Chanaka was moving around. That means bowler had plenty of time to see where the batter was trying to play that stroke. So I reckon if those two didn't happen much, even at 275, which could be the difference in the end, would have been easily achieved.
All right, fair enough. Let's look ahead to the second innings, and perhaps we'll come back to these points that Farveez and Amol make, depending on what side of the result Sri Lanka end up on. Kasun Rajitha will have new ball in hand, and he has been among the wickets. Now, Afghanistan took him down as far as the runs go, but he continues to strike wickets. As we just break down his bowling in this calendar year phase-wise, Farveez, I wonder if you could sort of share some light into this. Rajitha seems to be very good numbers at the death. At the top, it doesn't look quite as good, average of 52, but he has been among the wickets in this tournament. How do you see him bowling on this surface?
I would like to see him with the new ball for sure, at least for 5 overs. Try and pick up a couple of wickets. That's Kasun Rajitha's game. I mean, the 3 quicks of Bangladesh, with their height, they got bounce, they got movement. Sri Lanka only has the luxury of Kasun Rajitha because Matisha Patiran is a total different bowler altogether. So I reckon Kasun Rajitha with the new ball is very important for Sri Lanka to win this game. And if Kasun has a weakness, which I'm pretty sure he will agree with me as well, is that his death overs. He has gone for plenty in the past, even in the last game. I mean, last game is one of those games where everyone went for runs, but just that Kasun need to up the game when it comes to death overs. I mean, other concern for me is that when Mahesh Theekshana got out, he was holding on to his thumb, his bowling arm. So that's something that I'm also keeping my fingers across. It's not that bad because he looked really hurt and he was shaking his head. So if that's going to be a miss for Sri Lanka, that's going to be massive because Mahesh Theekshana is supposed to take the new ball. So it's going to be a massive occasion for the game.
Yeah, absolutely. He got a nasty one on his way out in the last over, did Theekshana of Taskin Ahmed, and immediately took out his right glove. Seemed like the impact was on his right thumb, which of course is his bowling hand. So let's hope that he's all right and that Sri Lanka has resources right from the top. In the event that we don't see Theekshana take the field immediately, Farveez, what is your next best option? You then have to change things up a little because Dasun Chanaka relies on Theekshana with a new ball, as you said.
I think other option would be Dasun Chanaka himself because with this pitch offering some bounce and movement, why not get yourself in? I will definitely back Dasun Chanaka to take the new ball. In case if Dasun is not comfortable taking the new ball, the only option I would see is Dhananjay De Silva because he has done it before. He has his experience. Dunit Velalage is still raw for me to bowl in the power play with only 2 fielders outside. You're asking from a youngster too much. And Matisha Patiran clearly prefers to bowl in the middle overs and the death overs. So Sri Lanka, in case if Mahesh is out of this game, will be struggling, and only 2 options would be the 2 seniors, DDS and Dasun Chanaka.
Yeah, it's very interesting that because it's not got a lot of seam options that can partner Rajitha the team that he's gone with right through this Asia Cup, Dasun Shanaka. In the Bangladesh top order, though, there is a vulnerability as we just look at their numbers at the top of the order, Amol, and perhaps this begs the question whether they can do anything different, whether Liton Das could actually open. If you look at averages for the first 10, and of course Liton Das too is, we'll come to his numbers, but they average 28.17. That's the lowest in ODIs in the first 10 since 2021. They've also lost 67 wickets, run rate's about 4.5. Liton at 3 didn't work on his comeback last time. You have Naeem and Mehdi Hasan Miraz, who now seems to be the option. Anything different that they can do, Bangladesh, to give themselves a better chance?
Well, Liton Das can open. That's one thing what I would suggest. They're definitely missing Shanto at top of the order. Yes. And clearly where the gap is, you can make out from the scores. Just the graphic that we just showed. Mohammad Naeem needs to get some runs. He's not been in super form. Mehdi Hasan Miraz, he has got 100, but today will be a big test for him and for Shakib Al Hasan to stand up. I mean, I would expect the experience of Shakib and Mushfiqur Rahim to stand up again in this run chase. It's going to be a big ask, but they definitely have the firepower to at least challenge this Sri Lankan score.
All right, let me just get some numbers for you for Liton Das against Sri Lanka, and that is perhaps indication of this not necessarily being a favoured opposition for him. Average is 8.3 against Sri Lanka, and of course Liton Das has become a different player since 2019. In those 3 innings, there are 2 ducks as well. So let's see if he gets going today. Liton Das, also eager to see at what number he bats, whether he comes out at the top, maybe move Naeem down to 3, or will he remain at 3? They are, like Amol Muzumdar says, missing Najmul Hussain Shanto. Another player that we can also focus on is Mushfiqur Rahim. Now, this is an interesting bifurcation of Mushfiqur Rahim's long ODI career, and I'm sure Farveez will have a thing or two to say about this, given he has said multiple times that it's only since the last few years that this rivalry has become something, given before that Sri Lanka in his days were winning easy. 67.9 is Mushfiqur Rahim's average against Sri Lanka since 2018. He's due a big one, but I guess that also has something to do with why they've gotten more competitive against you guys, Farveez.
I think one reason Mushfiqur Rahim bats so low, which I believe is to bat through the last bit of overs. I think Hathuru Singh as a coach expects Shakib Al Hasan or Mushfiqur Rahim to be the finisher which they lack. Remember, Bangladesh uses that fast bowling all round in that squad. I don't see anybody can do that job. Spinning all rounder Shakib Al Hasan and Mehdi Hasan Miraz. Mehdi Hasan Miraz is not a finisher; he's a grinder. And opening the batting and scoring round is a bonus. So I reckon that's why Mushfiqur Rahim bats so low, because he can still thump that ball over mid-wicket and over long on for sixers against even the fast bowlers. And Mushfiqur Rahim, when he started, was a number 3 batter. I remember I played a lot against him, and he's someone that he easily doesn't give his wicket away. Because remember, if I remember right, I think one of those games at R. Premdas Stadium, and we had played a one day, we had 3 sips and a gully for him, trying to get him out, but it's still, one day, he never gave that wicket away. He just wanted to grind it away. So he's a fighter, and he won't be happy batting at number 6, knowing him. But he's there for a reason, because Hathuru Singh clearly believes that he needs an experienced finisher in the middle overs.
That number had gone up by 50. Doesn't happen that way, isn't it? I mean, before 2000.
Ever since Farveez retired, I think. No, that could be the reason as well.
Possibly.
Yeah.
3 times in the pocket. That's all.
There we go. There we go. I knew there was something there. Okay, let me give Amol and Farveez some more numbers before I ask them for a prediction, and that is Shakib Al Hasan's recent record against Sri Lanka. 4 out of the last 5 innings against this opposition for Shakib. He's been dismissed for single-digit scores, and that is an area of concern. If you want to put your money on Shakib and Bangladesh to chase down 258, he averages 14, and that is, of course, in ODIs against Sri Lanka since 2018 in 8 matches. So, all that being considered, Sri Lanka have a good score as per Amol and Shakib. Let's get a prediction. Sri Lanka to win this then, Amol?
I think so. It will be a close encounter, but Sri Lanka will come up trumps. All
right, Farveez, you agree? This is going to be a close one, and you still back Sri Lanka, or do you think they'll win easy?
I think it'll be a close game, barring the weather. I mean, there was some cloud cover hovering around as we speak. There is some wind has picked up as well. So if the weather keeps away, if you have a 50-over game, I reckon Sri Lanka has a very good chance to win this game.
Yeah, it's a very good point as well. We shouldn't forget that the weather is going to play its part, whether Bangladesh need to bat differently to just stay ahead of DLS, and the availability of Mahesh Deekshana, all things to consider as we look to the second innings. Big thank you to Amol Muzumdar and Farveez Maharoof. We'll hear from them at the end of the game on Maruti Suzuki Arena presents ESPN Cricket for Matchday, powered by JBL. And do download the mobile app. We'll have you covered with all that I mentioned as that innings goes on to see if Sri Lanka can pick up the points or if Bangladesh can etch what would be a famous win, given they've never won at the Premadasa Stadium. We'll see you at the end of the game.
Stunning looks, then swift.
Make sure you download the ESPN Cricket Info app to stay updated with the very latest from the world of cricket.